Pokemon ZA came out and it was a huge disaster in the online sphere, you know, a big controversy. The Pokemon ZA situation is insane. It might even be borderline crazy. Who knows? Okay, and it led up to it was also like filled with controversy about it. And I want to talk about it simply because I saw a video so bad that I had to make this. I'm not gonna say the video because it's not even an English video, okay? It's in a different language, so it wouldn't even be any good use to you. But it was recommended to me and I clicked on it. It was like the Pokemon ZA hate is forced and embarrassing. And I was like, okay, why is it forced and embarrassing? And the video was filled with the worst arguments ever. And these arguments I've already heard before, but they were all like compressed into a single video. It wasn't only just bad arguments, but a lot of bad arguments. And I want to go and debunk these, or like kind of say why I think that these are bad arguments. Starting with number one. I don't care about graphics. I'm not like other girls. I hate this in every single debate that has ever existed. I don't care about graphics. It's like they want to be quirky and they want to seem like, oh, I'm not that I'm like what is the word for it? I'm not that surface level. I dig deeper. But it's such a dumb thing to say. Like, okay, yeah, let's assume you don't care about graphics. So, like, they should just make the worst graphics ever. Okay, let's disregard graphics as a whole. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. One aspect of the video game does not matter at all. It's a part of the game design, bro. I don't understand why it's such a common thing to say. It's the most midwit thing to say ever. It is a part of game design. It intertwines with gameplay, it intertwines with the story, it intertwines with everything. Games are a combination of multiple media. That's what games are about. And like saying graphics aren't important, like yeah, some games it's not as important as other games, but to completely disregard graphics is so idiotic to me. And I'm just gonna say, like, graphics also resemble a kind of quality in the game. Like, sorry, but if a game just looks graphically horrendous and like completely trash, especially from a AAA company, this is not an indie game studio where they have to like prioritize certain stuff. This is a AAA gaming studio that has to like, they have the capabilities to make good graphics. And it's just like a especially in AAA games, it's kind of a what is it, a sign of the quality of the game. And Pokemon ZA graphics are so horrendous, and it's not just about the graphics, because art style is a part of graphics, okay? And I think many people don't realize that, but the art style is also part of the graphics. Like, for example, Undertale. I think Undertale looks good. Is it graphically complex? No. But graphically complex does not equal good. And the art style does a lot of things. Like, they have an art style they stick to, that they do well, and that they, like, it's a kind of, what is the word? It's a consistent art style, which Pokemon ZA and the other Pokemon games just are not. They're not consistent with their art style, which I think is the worst thing about these games. You know, if they looked like PS2 games, I wouldn't even be mad, because PS2 games are consistent in their art style. So I think that the combination, or like the comparison to PS2 games is a disservice to PS2 games, because most PS2 games, they have an art style that stays the same and is consistent within the game, which Game Freak fails to do. I mean, look at Pokemon. Look at the Pokemon games. The art style is all over the place. It feels like they don't really have a unified art style. You know, for the characters, sure. But it clashes with kind of the environment. Because the environment, it's just like so wishy-washy. You had this in Pokemon. I haven't played Pokemon ZA, to be honest. I'm just gonna make it out. I'm just gonna be clear. I'm not gonna be talking about the story, the gameplay. I haven't played it, but I can talk about the graphics because I've seen the graphics. Anyway, in Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, you also had this problem. Like in the open world, man, what the fuck? My dad came into my room and disrupted my entire flow, man. Yeah, like in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the open world looked ass. Like let's be honest. And then like certain housings, like interiors, looked okay in comparison. You also had this in Pokemon. In Pokemon, what is it called again? Sword and Shield, where like the open zone looked completely ass, utter trash, and looked completely different from like the cities. And the cities looked kind of like okay. And you had that one village in the forest that looked actually good. It's all over the place. You know, it's so inconsistent. And that's my problem with most AAA games nowadays. I don't know how I can go into more detail. I'm not an expert, but it feels like these games are so inconsistent with their graphics. It feels so weird to me, and it's just jarring. I wouldn't even mind if they looked bad, but it was consistently bad. They look so inconsistent, it just feels weird. Games usually in the past didn't look like that, in my opinion. I mean, maybe if you go back to the N64 and PS1 games, sure, they looked inconsistent in some instances because it was new. But I feel like PS2 era, GameCube era, most games from that point onwards look consistent in their art style and in their graphics. So yeah, I don't care about graphics. It's such a bad argument because, first of all, okay, you don't care about graphics, but they're still bad. Okay, they're objectively bad. And they could do better. And there are obviously people who do care. And we should stop disregarding people that care about graphics. Like it's just it's such a bad thing. You know, you're not a true gamer because you care about graphics. And graphics doesn't mean hyper realistic. I feel like these people think, oh, I want this to look like GTA. No. You know a game with good graphics? Mario Galaxy. Why? It's cartoony, sure, but it just looks good. Another game with good graphics is Mario Sunshine. It also looks cartoony, but it looks good. I just want a good art style. Doesn't mean it has to look realistic. I just want the graphics to be good and consistent and the art style to be good. That's all I want. And Pokemon Company could do it because we know that their budget is super low for these games, like 20 million. The leak said about like 20 million. That's nothing. Most Nintendo games cost 5 to 10 times that. To be like, most Nintendo games that are developed by Nintendo take 5 to 10 times the amount of money that Pokemon takes. And Pokemon is guaranteed to sell 10 million copies. So it's not like they need to have like a low budget. Anyway, let's go to the next argument, which is even worse. Like literally in that video, the guy said, and this is not just what the like this one guy says, but like a lot of people say this. He said Pokemon looked always bad. They always looked bad. And true, Pokemon was never like stunning and like technically impressive games. Never really. I mean, on the N64, Pokemon, like the Pokemon Colosseum? No. Pokemon Colosseum and XD on GameCube and Pokemon Battle Arena on the Wii, they looked really good. Weren't made by Game Freak, but by a studio that is co-owned by Game Freak. But anyway, and then on the N64 you had I forgot the specific name. Pokemon Stadium. They looked good, had good animations. I mean, whenever they give the IP to other developer studios, they somehow make it better than Pokemon. But hey, yeah, they were always like the main games were always not that impressive. I mean, the first game was made by like 6 people or something like that. Pokemon was never expected to be a big success, okay? So the first game was super ass, it was super trash, it was super buggy, but they never really improved too much on the graphics and technical aspect on it. I mean, a little bit sure, but it was never impressive. Okay, never really impressive. Sometimes it was okay. Sometimes it was even good. Never really impressive, never really good. Or like really exceptional. They were never known for that. But doesn't matter. Because I want to take Pokemon Black and White here and say that Pokemon Black and White for the DS, really good games in a technical sense and like in a graphic sense. They look good. I don't mind that. Then on the 3DS, Pokemon X and Y, and then it stayed for the entire 3DS. But I mean, what could you do on the 3DS? That was like the excuse back in the day. What could you really do with the 3DS? Let's just be honest. Even though there were technically way more impressive games on the 3DS, but hey. Then the Switch just looked like the 3DS games, but like with a higher resolution. So yeah, there is a downtrend. Okay, there is a downtrend that has happened after the DS and even after like the 3DS. Because on the 3DS, the 3DS games don't look too bad because every 3DS game looks like that. But on the Switch, it's just even worse and more jarring because you know what that console can do and you know the other games that it has, and because you're playing on a fucking big screen. Anyway, just because it was bad back in the day doesn't mean it has to stay bad forever. Like, sorry, but that argument just doesn't make sense. Like, because it was bad in the past and it's always been bad, it should just stay bad? Huh? And the argument was also that it's weird that we complain about it now. Like, only a few years ago we started complaining about it, but back in the day we didn't complain about it. And that is hypocritical. And I'm like, what? Why does it matter when we start complaining? That's just so stupid. Anyway, that argument is just like throw it out the window. It's just garbage argument. Next argument. It's a kid's game. Why do you care? This argument is also so bad, and it's an argument that's not just used for Pokemon. It's used throughout the entire media industry or whatever, and it's always like a gotcha, huh? Why are you so mad at this kid's game? This argument is obviously like used to discredit your opinion and to make you look goofy for caring about a kid's game. You're an adult. Why do you care about this kid's game and how good it is? While you are also arguing about that kid's game and defending it. Like, you are as much of a clown as I am in that moment. Like, it's also a self-own, so I don't understand it. But second of all, why does it matter if it's a kid's game? Should we not be able to criticize what our kids watch and consume? Like, what they play and consume? It's such a bad argument. Just because something is made for kids doesn't mean it has to be bad. Pixar movies are made for kids, and they're like very impressive. Okay, like Pixar, like back in the day, like Pixar movies were like hailed as impressive movies, not just for kids, but like in the medium. You have the Ghibli studio movies, which are also primarily made for kids, but they're still impressive animation movies, like animated movies. So I don't understand why we have like a different standard for kids media. Like, kids media has to be bad. No, it doesn't have to be bad. It can be good. And second of all, imagine you as a parent want to buy your kid a game, and this kid likes Pokemon, so you buy Pokemon. Wouldn't you want to know what you're buying for your children? Wouldn't you want to know that you're buying absolute trash games for your kids? I feel like most parents would probably think twice about buying it for their kids if they knew this is trash. And sorry, but I would also not want my children to play trash games. Just because it's for kids doesn't mean it has to be bad. Why do we have a different standard for kids? I mean, yeah, sure, kids can watch bad things and find it more enjoyable than we as adults. Sure, that's because as a kid you haven't consumed as much, you don't know what's good. But just because kids can do that doesn't mean that we have to just give them bad stuff, you know, like bad media. I don't understand why we have to give them subpar games. And another thing is, kids aren't really in the power to complain about this stuff. I mean, if this is like this argument, even with this argument, like, kids cannot really complain about it too much. Like, what is a 10-year-old gonna do? They don't know what to critique. And the thing is, kids notice it. I know that these people, they like to argue, oh, kids, they don't care, they don't notice that. They notice, okay? I, as a kid, noticed when I played Pokemon Sun and Moon, I noticed that the game had bad frame rate sometimes. Now, I couldn't articulate what was wrong. I didn't really get it too much. I thought like, that's just part of the game, okay. But I noticed that the frame rate was bad in some instances, and I thought like, well, why? It's weird, but I couldn't articulate it properly. So kids notice this stuff. They just don't talk about it that often, I think, because kids, I think kids aren't really like good at critiquing things and saying why they don't like it. They're just like, I don't like this, or whatever. And when they talk about a Pokemon game and they enjoy the Pokemon game as a whole, but they have these weird like graphical issues or performance issues, they're probably not going to talk about it because they like the game. So they're just going to say like, oh yeah, I like this Pokemon game. So in that sense, it's like our duty to kind of fact check Pokemon and on that fact check, but like check them on their quality and kind of make sure that they're not giving kids slop. Like, sorry, but just because it's for kids doesn't mean it has to be slop. It has to be bad. Okay, first of all. And just also because it's for kids, adults can still play it. I mean, how many adults play Mario games, which are made for primarily kids? You know, there's like a huge portion of people that are like 30, 40 years old that still like Nintendo games, that still play Mario games. And Mario games are technically, most of the time, completely fine. So, just because it's for kids doesn't mean that like adults can't enjoy it too, and that they can't like think about the adults while making it. Like, oh yeah, the adults, they want better graphics. Sure, we'll do that, because better graphics would not make the game worse for anybody. It would just make it better for some people. Like, that's the thing. Why are we defending this when it wouldn't make, like, it would like, the worst case scenario is it wouldn't change the experience for anybody, and the best, like, the best case and the worst case scenario is it wouldn't worsen the experience for anybody that doesn't care. But best case scenario, it would make the game way more fun for some people. Like, why are we complaining about that? I just don't get that mentality. Why are we defending these games from AAA studios that have billions of dollars of revenue, or like profit that they've made in the time it existed, and that make like their money back 100-fold, even higher than that, from these games? Because if we assume they put 20 million into the production of this game and they sell a minimum 10 million, actually it should be minimum 20 million, because the past Pokemon games they have sold over 20 million times, but let's just assume minimum 10 million, and they sell for on average $50, okay, because in stores you can get it cheaper and stuff. Like, let's just say $50. That's 500 million. That's 250 times, like 250 times the amount they put into it. Like 99%, like over 99% is profit. The money that they make with this. So why can't we just expect more from them? Like I genuinely don't understand this modern culture of defending these companies that fuck us over by giving us subpar products, and they could make it easily better, and then you defend it. For what reason? What purpose? What do you get out of this? Just because you like it, just because you're fine with a subpar product, just because you don't care what your money is buying, just because you're fine with paying $50-$60 for a subpar product, doesn't mean everybody else should be fine with that. I don't understand this. And then you talk about how gaming is over. It's because people like this. Because they keep buying into this shit, and then they keep defending this behavior. We need to keep them accountable to keep this, to keep the gaming industry afloat, you know, like good. To prevent sloppy ass, bitch ass games that nobody wants. Like, we just want a proper game that is like fully well-rounded, you know. Sorry that I want a game with good graphics that I bought for $60. Is it so hard to do that? Man, there are indie games that look 10 times better than Pokemon, and those are made by like 2 people with barely any funding. And that's why I like indie games, bro. Indie games, at least they be making good games, like well-rounded games. There are also slop indie games. Like, let's be honest, there's in the past few years, like in the past decade, a lot of people have like jumped ship on the indie bandwagon, like probably that were already working in the industry and wanted to make them a name for themselves and only want the money, and they don't really care. It's not really a passion project. There are enough games out there that like indie slop, but they're like, I would say that gaming for me these days is carried by indie games, because they actually have like passion and, I don't know, some sort of has some sort of integrity for the player, you know. They know what it is like to be a gamer, you know. They know what's good, they know what people want, they know, and they don't cut corners like these mega games do. I don't understand. And Pokemon, it's not like Pokemon is like the rest of the indie, like the AAA industry. Like the AAA industry, a lot of shit's going wrong. A lot of games is their ass and bad in many aspects. But even considering those like standards that the AAA games have nowadays, Pokemon is just so subpar, it's crazy. Like, even like, actually we shouldn't call it a AAA game, because Pokemon have a AA budget. Like, that's a AA budget. That's not a AAA budget. It's a AA budget. It's not even a AAA budget these days. So yeah, they shouldn't even be selling their game for full price. It should be like $30. But hey, that was just kind of like a little rant, because I don't know, I think the whole discussion around is just so stupid, because all people do is like hate on a bad game for being bad. I mean, the bad parts about the game, I cannot speak for the other parts, but like, the graphics are obviously bad and they could obviously do it better. And then there are people like, no, blah, blah, blah. They're defending it for whatever reason. It's so stupid. Like, what the fuck? You're going against your own interests. Like, don't you want these games to be better? That's what you do. That's what you get when you criticize these games. Like, all you can get is that in the next game they keep it in mind and they're like, okay, they're not as easy as we thought. They don't buy into shit as easy as we thought. They don't eat up as easy as we thought. So maybe we should put a little bit of effort into our games. Hey, just a thought, okay? And by the way, I don't know why, but enjoy the Stanley Parable gameplay in the background, bro. I had to get something in the background, and I was too lazy, and I was playing Stanley Parable anyway. So hey, enjoy it, man. It's a good game. It's a good game. It looks better than Pokemon. Look at this. This is an indie game and looks better than Pokemon. But hey, bye.